everybody. We are live, apparently. I am Cindelle, owner of Cindelles Bookstore. I want to welcome you guys to a very intimate conversation that I think is going to be so impactful, mainly because Miss Carole walked in here with the biggest energy ever, and I cannot wait to hear what she has to say. So thank you, Imposter Syndrome. Thank you, Miss Carole.
Thank you.
Let's get it done.
Woo! Let's go to work.
Let's go to work.
Okay, I should be all plugged in and good. How's everybody doing today? Good, good. For those of you who are on live stream, I hope y'all doing well. Thank you for spending your evening with us as we spend the evening with Miss Carole Hopson. And so I'm going to do my formal introduction because this is Imposter Syndrome Live. So, hey everybody, it's Diandra Marie and welcome to the first ever live show of Imposter Syndrome. Woo! Woo! And this is a web series that I created where I sit down with creatives, artists, entrepreneurs, professionals, authors to discuss their journey and how they combat imposter syndrome. And here to my right is the dynamic, the fashionable, the fine, okay? Listen, you chasing your dreams, right? Yeah. So this is Carole Hopson, and she is a Boeing 737 captain for United Airlines based in Newark, New Jersey. Okay, do you know any captains? Okay. Huh, a captain and an author.
Who wear fringe on?
Right, who wear... After a remarkable 20-year career as a journalist and executive, she followed her dream to become a pilot and share her passion with others as a flight instructor while raising her family. Walking away from executive level positions, she went to flight school with gusto and completed flight training at the peak of her corporate accomplishments. True to her roots as a writer, Carole published her debut novel, A Pair of Wings, based on the life story of pioneer aviatrix Bessie Coleman, the first American to earn a French civilian pilot license. Carole also leads the Jet Black Foundation, dedicated to sending 100 Black women to flight school by the year 2035. Woo! Everyone welcome Carole Hopson.
Busy.
Yeah, she's busy.
Busy.
I can't wait to get to all of these different facets of yourself. But how I usually start the show, Carole, is though I did the formal introduction, I want you to let people know who you are in your own words.
I am a mom.
I know that's right.
I have two sons. They are 21 and 23. My oldest son is 6'8", and my youngest son is 6'5". Wow. And they are super bright. And they are terribly naughty, and they're very funny, and I'm a boy mom. Yes. And it's so funny. I think of myself as that first, and the rest of it second. I'm also a wife of 30 years. Woo. Your mom and I were talking about longevity. And so if you do the math, we were married for 7 years before we had children. And I was on my way to flight school and I didn't intend to have any children. Gotcha. That scared me more than, an airliner in a storm. Wow. The notion that people would have, and I'm looking around, we got all girls in here, from the youngest to the senior. And I was terrified to have Black boys. Well, God has quite a sense of humor. Right. And I had Black boys.
Wow. So you having your first child while you're in the midst of flight school kind of derailed you a little bit, right?
Derailed me a lot.
Okay. So where were you at in your corporate career, as you were, starting your flight school and then you get pregnant? Like, where was that journey?
So it's a crazy journey. I spent about 18 years in corporate America. I was a police reporter. Oh, wow. My company sent me to journalism school at Columbia University. I finished there. And then after that, I was at the National Football League. And then after that, I was with Foot Locker, Lady Foot Locker, Kids Foot Locker, Champ Sports, that whole conglomerate. It was owned by Woolworth Corporation. I learned so much. That company, although it was a retail company, what it really was a real estate company. There were leases that Woolworth had on beautiful streets like this that were 100-year leases. They wanted the leases signed across the country. So back in the day, 100, 120 years ago, there were large developers even then, small town, large developers. And they wanted to get town centers filled. So they would put a Woolworth there and it would be big. And then later, as these other formats got developed, they would chop the store up and make it Kids Foot Locker and Lady Foot Locker.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that was all across America. And that was how they made so much money.
Right.
It was an incredible learning experience for me. And I went on to be the head of their learning organization. I had a manager's program, a district manager, a regional vice president. We had everything from the product knowledge, the people who put the sneakers on your feet, to the CEO, and everybody in between. It was an amazing job. I had an office in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. I was always on an airplane.
Wow.
One day, going over the North Atlantic, over to Schiphol in Amsterdam, where we had a huge European, that's where we kicked off in Europe, was from Amsterdam. I was sitting, I love being able to talk about this because I was actually sitting in first class. And, you know,
I know that's right.
Well, but you know, I don't really care where I sit in the airplane. We, in our contract.
Top button topic. You don't care where you sit. Well, that's when you're sitting in the front now.
Well, that's the best seat in the house. But when I deadhead, or when I'm like tomorrow morning when I commute, because I live in Jersey City, I also live in Martha's Vineyard. So tomorrow when I commute home, I don't care where I sit, in the middle seat, wherever. But I was in first class and I was like this. And the guy said, "Hey, lady, by the time we get to Schiphol, your back is going to be permanently in an L. Can you do me a favor? Just come on up here and sit in the jump seat." Oh. And it was one of those moments where you say, jump seat. Oh, that's my first terminology. So he folded it down. I sat on a jump seat. And we went across the North Atlantic in the middle of the night, and we saw stars and shooting stars. At altitudes in the 30,000s, you see shooting stars and you see them often. It's like zip, 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 zip. It's I hate to say this, but it's common.
Yeah.
The uncommon is common up there. And I know he wanted to talk and give me his phone number for later, but I couldn't care less about him. I couldn't care less about him.
Right.
What I wanted to know was every button and dial, everything that he could tell me. I wanted to know. And I brought out my notepad because I was a reporter. I was a copious note taker. And he was like, you know, if I could call you later, I could tell you everything. You don't have to write everything down.
You're like, no, I'm going to write it down.
I'm going to write it down because I may never see you again.
Right. And I don't plan to. Right.
So off we go. 2 weeks later, I was in the subway and I saw this really tall, handsome guy who I'd gone to college with. I had always had a crush on him, but he didn't even know I was alive.
Oh.
I had 3 jobs in college and he was president of fraternity and this and the pole mark and the blah, blah, blah. I saw him in the subway. New York City is a great equalizer. So he wasn't as popular anymore as I was because I worked for the National Football League.
Right.
So I went up to him and I said, "Hi, how you doing?" He said, "I'm great." He says, "I can't believe you're in New York. It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
It was like one of those Harry meets Sally moments, you know? And so he said, "How about lunch?" I said, "How about dinner?" So I can't move when I have to.
I know that's right. I know that's right. But you know, really quick, I want to put a pin in that.
My
Because
grandmother
when you
used to say that.
Listen, grew up with some good stock, as I like to say. No, what you said about taking it all in and learning the different things about the plane, that immediately flagged me with how you wrote Bessie in A Pair of Wings, where it was her mom, I think, got her a magazine because she was so interested in seeing a plane fly over. And then every time she could learn something about planes or aviation, she was soaking it all in. So I want to talk about the parallels and how I've gotten to know you over the past month and a half ago, I think we met, and the book. Before we get there, though, I want to no, because we're gonna get there because this is historical fiction.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't know if everyone really understands historical fiction. So can you just break it down to some of the uninitiated, what they can expect from A Pair of Wings as a historical fiction novel?
A good read.
A great read. Well, right, but I mean, as far as the style and how you.
So for you beautiful women in this room, you're interested in that beautiful little girl and how she came to be the seed of her beautiful mom. But what we really want is flashbacks to that time, because we're focused on this extraordinary young woman, and we want to know developmentally, but we want it in snippets, because the robustness of a woman is what grabs us. So I don't do a chronological when she was born and this and that. You brought up it was a device.
That's what it was.
It was a device. So the newspaper in, the early part of the 19th century was like us scrolling, right? They had newspapers, and the Black newspapers would literally be read 30 or 40 times before they were cast aside. And they started in cities like Chicago and Philadelphia. And the Pullman porters would give the newspapers literally to people. They would just slide them to them. It was almost as though it was counterfeit. It was something that that you weren't to read. It was something that you weren't to get a hold of. And it goes all the way back to slavery, when we weren't supposed to read. And so the Pullman porters cast is on your shelf, right? So Isabel Wilkerson does an amazing job of teaching us about the Great Migration.
Yes.
And Bessie Coleman, I'm gonna do this real quick. I had the opportunity to speak with Margot Shetterly, who wrote Hidden Figures. I spoke with her, what is today?
Today is the 14th.
Oh, day of the week.
Oh, today's Thursday.
Okay. So on Monday, I spoke with Margot Shetterly. And I told her that I always use this in a demonstration about historical fiction, because her book is nonfiction. So I say, what she did was she gave us a juxtaposition of the space race and the race for civil rights. That it seemed as though it couldn't come together. And yet in 5 Black women, okay, but in the book, there are like 8 of them, right? But in the movie, there are 5. I mean, the movie's only a couple hours, so you can't put everybody in there. So it's these 2 seemingly similar but parallel time periods, and they come together in these women. Well, that happened 50 years after Bessie. So Bessie Coleman becomes the only woman in the world to be at the dawn of aviation and the dawn of the Great Migration. Who in the world would ever put those things together? So in 1923, the Los Angeles Times has a picture of Bessie Coleman, and she's in the center of a tire. Man, oh man, I have studied so much about her. And in this picture, her fingers are so long. Well, you guys may have seen my discomfort with my legs. I have a torso that's about this big. But I got these legs and I got arms and I got these, I could probably come over there and just pop your collar from here without ever leaving my seat. There, I just got those stretch arms and stretch legs and fingers. And so in this picture, she's going like this to the thing. Well, she advertised with flyers, tires. Black people at the turn of the century couldn't buy houses. Why? We couldn't get loans. And then when we were able to get loans, we weren't able to buy in a certain part of town. So it was both the redlining, that's what they call red line, don't cross this line, and not being able to have deposits or a place to put them. So Black bankers began, like Jesse Benga. So there's a lot of true people in here. What we don't know is the glue that held those stories together. So some of the conversations, those are the fiction. But the historical part, Bessie Coleman picked cotton. When the Wright brothers made their first flight on December 17th, 1903, she was 11 years old. How old is that baby right there? She's 7. So when Bessie Coleman was 7, she was going out to the fields with her mother and her father. And her, let's see, she had, there were 12 of them, 9 of them lived. What happened to the others? I don't know. So historical fiction, I have her father plant them underneath the tree. Because that's what people did. We had to go to work the next day. And so I didn't want to hit you over the head with the history.
Yeah.
But I could tell you there were 12 kids.
Mm-hmm.
True. Fiction, her father plants them under the pecan tree.
Mm-hmm.
So you get infant mortality. You get Black people being resilient, being resourceful, all with one imagery.
Yeah.
And you get the sadness of losing and loss, all with one imagery. And so that's why the fiction was so powerful.
Yeah. And it's definitely powerful because as I was reading the book, I would text you periodically and be like, I'm on part 3, I'm on part 4. And I remember calling you. We just ended up on the phone. And I said, I love the way you write. It's very descriptive. Her story, it really starts, as far as her backdating it, is when she's going to Chicago to meet her brothers. And so I told Carole, I'm like, I feel like I'm transported back into, 1914, 1915 Chicago with the dialogue of the characters,
The clothes.
the fashion. Yeah, I was about to say the fashion, how you would move. And you brought up a few different figures. So throughout the story, you gave a lot of historical prominent figures who are real, by the way.
Jesse Binga, first Black banker in Chicago.
Exactly. And then we have Jesse Binga, we have Robert Abbott, Robert Thelen, Monsieur Caldron, Anton Fokker, to name a few. You also mentioned Josephine Baker, Ida B. Wells are in here, and they all are a part of Bessie's journey as support. And so, I wanted you to talk about that overlap of writing that Bessie has that support, and then what that looked like for you as you were on your journey to being a pilot.
So I'll take them quick. I'll do them one at a time.
Cool.
Jesse Binga, 23 years older than Bessie Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
He was. Okay, I'll just say fine. Okay. I'll leave it there. This man is very different than Bessie. He was born free. His people were free.
Yep.
Bessie Coleman's mother was born a slave. So I love to say, the daughter of a slave would become a queen because they called her Queen Bess. So all of the people in the book, what was so interesting to me about Bessie Coleman's life is Robert Abbott. Robert Abbott started the Chicago Defender, one of the oldest and the greatest newspapers in our country. And he single-handedly helped Black people move from the South to the North.
Yep.
So if, for example, when we were talking about, tell me what town you came from when you were 3. In North Carolina. Well, she's in New Jersey. How did that happen? My people were from North Carolina, right?
Oh, we got a few North Carolinians in the audience.
And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why.
Please.
So the train lines were like my hand. If you came from North, let me see. Air traffic controllers have to do left and right and time. So the time and space. So I ain't an air traffic controller. So if you came up from Georgia, from North Carolina, from South Carolina, most likely your train lines went to Paterson, New Jersey. Let me go back. Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Paterson, New Jersey, Newark, New Jersey, New York City.
Right.
If your family could make it, you went on up to Canada. But that was a lot.
Yeah.
So you look at places like, you say, how in the world are so many Black people in Rhode Island and Connecticut? That's where the trains were. That's where abolitionists were. So then you go to what I call mega territory, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those individuals, they went up to Chicago. Sometimes they could make it to Indianapolis. And so if they really had a lot of fervor, they went up to Chicago, Detroit, to Gary. And then you had those people from Texas.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Texas folks went to Oak City, Oklahoma City.
Yep.
And they had a little energy. They kind of went a little bit to Chicago and Detroit. And if they had a lot of stamina, they went out west. So the migration of Black people in this country is based on the trains and the Pullman porters, because they had, think about this for a minute. It's something I never thought of. Pullman porters had nowhere to sleep.
Right.
So they would start their work in, let's pick a city, Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
And they would go north all the way to New York City. Well, you know, trains move the way trains move. Their hangout place, when they weren't serving, polishing shoes, getting bags, helping passengers, running errands, was in the smoker car where the men were. So usually white men were in the smoker cars. As we came into the 20th century, more cars where black people were, but they were shoved tight like sardines.
Yes.
And then finally, when they would get to Syracuse, finally, when they would get somewhere where the train was stopping, it was a rest time. But the rest time wasn't in a hotel. The rest time was in the catacombs of our train stations. So all of a sudden, my memory goes, oh, there's an idea. Cindelle, you need some help out there?
Nope.
All right, girl. So all of a sudden, my imagination went wild. There would be a black man who bought a little fiddle. It wasn't too large to carry with your one little bag.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there in the catacombs like Samson, he would play Moonlight Sonata on the violin for his compatriots. And it would just move you to tears.
Yeah.
Because there's so much brilliance.
Yeah.
And so little. Not even a place to sleep.
Right. And you write about that a little bit. I think one of her brothers was a Pullman porter, and Walter, that's what I mean. So you find the historical fiction and just how you're passionate about telling Bessie's story shows up, and how you're passionate about making sure that the time period is accurate is amazing. And I know, you spoke about Robert Abbott single-handedly bringing people up here. I mean, but you write about so many other people who have helped Bessie on her journey, especially when the chips seem stacked against her, right? Like finding the flight school to go to, getting the money for that. It also sounds like while you had similar support, right, in your own world, you also come from a bit of a different world than Bessie, right? You were married when you went to flight school.
Yeah, but I came from urban poor.
I mean, like in your time period of you going to flight school, you had you had at least spousal support, right?
I had huge spousal support.
Yeah, talk to me about that, especially, we'll get into it a bit of just being a woman, being a Black woman, and sometimes more masculine energy or masculine people can just feel intimidated, right? Like that's a really big dream. Right. So talk to me about the report you received from your husband, and then just in general, the people that helped you along the way.
So I talked to you guys about the first date. So on that first date, he says, back in college, I had no idea what you wanted to do with yourself when you grow up. I said, I don't know what I want to do either. I was 29, I was 30 years old. And he said, your career is a little eclectic here. Okay. Just come on, tell me what you want to do. I said, I don't know. No. He's like, why? I said, because you laugh at me. It's silly. You said to me, Cindelle, that you wanted to own a bookstore since you were a little girl. I wanted to fly planes since I was a little girl. And when I was born in the 60s, yes, true. 1960s.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. People would say, oh, you know what? My dad used to give me a Hess truck with the helicopters every year without fail. I bust them up by New Year's, but I had them lined up. Some of them I take apart, some of them I put the propeller on top of something I create.
Yeah, right. So got creative with it.
So people would say, why that girl want another Hess truck? What's wrong with that girl? I mean, she's plenty blingy and everything, but what's wrong with that girl?
Right.
And it was the second date that he said, the first date he asked me what you want to do. And I finally said, all right. You know what? I want to fly a plane. That was the first time I'd ever said. I was 30 years old. Second date we both lived in Manhattan apartments. And anybody who's ever been in a Manhattan apartment, y'all in Jersey, you know.
Yeah, we know, girl.
Okay, I haven't been in the bathroom
driveway,
here.
No
driveway. We didn't have no car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying no, but see, that's how you know I'm from New Jersey. No driveway. It's probably one room and a bathroom. But you probably paid.
The whole apartment was one room, and there was a bathroom.
That's what I said, right? Exactly.
That's exactly right. So he cooked me dinner. I'd say we've been married for 30 years, and in 30 years, he's made me 3 meals. If you're keeping track with pilot math, that's one every decade. Okay?
Right.
And so we're having dinner, And we finished dinner, and he says, if I cook, you clean. I said, oh, no problem. I'm a good cleaner. Yeah, no problem. So I cleaned out the apartment, the kitchen, and he said, well, it wasn't much to clean. It was like a table that we ate on, that he cooked on. And he said, you know, I'm a placemat guy. Did you get? And I was like, oh, okay, let me just stack the placemats. I picked up the placemat, and there was an envelope with my name and gift certificates to a local flight school.
Wow.
Look, you took your camera down.
Look, that's how everybody's like, oh, he knew he had you. He was like, oh, this is a future
like a
thing.
fiddle, right?
Yeah, this is a long-term thing. Wow.
I took one flight. I said, that's it, I'm quitting my job. He said, no, big girl. No, not that good job.
Right.
He said, let's create an exit strategy. I said, what's that? He said, it's a financial program.
Yeah.
So that we could find out how much it costs, what you're going to have to do, how long it'll take you, how many resources, what do we have to do? So in that exit strategy, fast forward like 5 years, we got married, we bought a house in New Jersey. Wow. I was like, I'm not going to New Jersey. He said, come on, you don't have to run today. We're going to go to brunch. I said, ooh, where? He's like, New Jersey. I'm like, oh. We went over to Jersey. And I was like, you know, I hate to be a snob, but I said, I'm going to live in like 2 places in New Jersey because I don't know anywhere else. I knew
That's
South
fair.
Jersey.
But South Jersey is different. We split up the map, really. There's North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey. And those are like 3 different jerseys.
They're like 3 different jerseys.
They are.
Right? And the one I didn't know was North. It terrified me because I was always speeding through the New Jersey Turnpike.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, there's like a flame in every, place. It's a doggone oil refinery.
Right.
Anyway, I took a flight and I said, I got to do this. I just have to. And we created this 5-year plan. Wow. It took me 6 years. And we just saved money, rent stabilized apartment. Like I said, moved to Jersey. And before you knew it, it was time to go to flight school.
Yes.
I left my job, went to flight school full time. I went from that 1 flight hour to being what's known as a certified flight instructor. And I call it bass backwards. So when you're brand new and green, you're teaching. And you're learning a lot when you're new.
Right.
It's like you make sure that you survive because you got to tell the lesson to the next person.
Right.
And I say in flying, sometimes you get the test before you get the lesson.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the test before you get the lesson.
I know y'all writing that down.
Am I speaking to the choir? It's like that sometimes in life. With motherhood, right? When you're in a situation, and with us, with pilots, at least certainly the airplanes I fly now, we fly 600 miles an hour. That's 6 miles a minute. Sometimes I get the test before the lesson.
Right.
Bessie,
I was like, oh yeah, we getting to the book. I'm about to pick mine up.
Bessie would get the test before the lesson.
Yes.
She was a pioneer.
Yes.
The airplanes that she was flying were made of cloth and wood. Cloth and wood. And so they were very squirrely. They were very agile. And developments were going on.
I was just about to say, and it was so early on in the development of airplanes, anything that went wrong was seen as a huge catastrophe. I mean, even like now, planes might go down, but we've had so much research and progress since then.
We have checklists.
Yeah, I was about to say. And then, it's safer to fly in a plane than it is to drive a car nowadays.
New Jersey Turnpike.
Well, but back in those days, it was just more catastrophic because there still was so much unknown. So speaking of unknown, I flagged some quotes for y'all. No spoilers, though. No spoilers.
What you got?
So on page 132.
By the way, I've forgotten like a lot. So go on. Read.
Yeah, I'm going to refresh your memory. So on page 132, you have Bessie saying, to become the first female Negro flyer, I would have to conquer not only gravity, but also America's rules about what I could or could not achieve. In order to do that, I had to possess just 2 things. Optimism and fearlessness. I had both. I like how you put just two things as if those aren't hard things to overcome. But that's my question. As I was reading this, this resonated with me, right? Because sometimes I struggle with having both optimism and fearlessness. And maybe some people who are watching and listening struggle with optimism or fearlessness, or maybe you have more of one than the other, but not both. So how do you tap into the power of both and like trying to find that balance?
I think that's the struggle with a lot of things. So I like elemental. Remember how we were just talking about, the warmth of other suns is, and it's about the Great Migration, or when we talk about hidden figures, it's and when we talk about Bessie, it's these elemental things. So I say any job, whether it's flying a plane or opening a bookstore, it is about two things. It's about ability and willingness to do a job. It's ability and willingness.
That's big. Yeah.
Hold on, let me write that down. Let me take a note.
Right.
It's about ability and willingness. Sometimes you have enormous ability.
Yeah.
We know those people.
Yeah.
They're the smartest person in the room. But their willingness is not there. Right? Don't get up on time, always late, can't get it together, can't find the place, don't want to, right? And that hurts you. To me, that hurts me more.
Yeah.
Right? Some people are very willing. They struggle with the ability.
Ooh, girl, and that's hard. That's hard because you try to teach them the ability, and but they nice, They put the hours in, but they just don't got it.
So
it's a tough spot to be in.
It's a tough spot. So fearlessness and optimism. Every single person whom you say, and I mean every person, whom you say, my goodness, that person is resilient. That person can get hit and keeps ticking.
Going, yeah.
That person, whomever they are in your mind when I say that sentence, they are optimistic. Harvard University says that every single bit of resilience it's founded in optimism. As people say, I know you all have heard this saying, there's a pony in there somewhere.
I've never heard that. Can you tell me what that means?
Okay, so I'll explain it.
Okay.
So you walk into a room and everything is awful.
Okay.
Awful. There's poop everywhere.
Oh, okay. We're going straight to poop.
And then you say, if there's this much poop, there must be a pony in there somewhere.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Right? You're having a really awful day.
Yeah.
But you know what?
There's
Come the
gotta
end
be
of the
pony,
day,
right.
I'm going to go home and see my children.
I see.
And there's the optimism that your priorities.
Yeah.
And so a bit of fearlessness is that when I get finished with the thing that is monumental and giving me the most trouble, I'm going to, whatever it is that gives you joy. I'm going to hold my baby. I am going to see my child get hi, come on in. Yeah, hey, don't be afraid of the force field of women, please. Come in, hello. So whatever that is, it's based, that fearlessness, that there's some hope that on the other side, I'm going to get done with this and move
on.
Next. And fearlessness doesn't mean, okay, I'm not afraid. I'm just going to fling my body.
I've done that. So it's funny you say that. I don't mean to interrupt. But I did go skydiving a few weeks ago.
I'm never leaving a good plane.
And
how was it?
Oh, it was fantastic. It was fantastic. But when you said that, my friend Jessica's here. Shout out to Jessica. We went together.
Jessica
she had a great time. No, but it's just,
I'm getting warm thinking about leaving planes.
That's how I thought, right? It was very much like, I'm very scared. I'm afraid of heights. You probably wouldn't know that. But even though I wasn't even ready to go out of the plane, the tether, he literally flung us out of the plane. And you have no choice but to be okay with what's going on. So it doesn't mean, but to your point, it doesn't mean that I'm not afraid.
You did it anyway.
You did, exactly.
So I would almost define that as courage, right?
Yeah.
You're afraid, but you did. But fearlessness doesn't mean that you just fling your body.
Right. Gotta be responsible.
Right. It means that there is a risk and you know it. It's calculated. But at the end of that risk, something is going to make you very, very happy. And that's why you're doing it.
Exactly.
And when you get done with this chore, because you have to do it, and whatever the chore is, whatever the thing is that's making you afraid,
right,
that at the other end of that,
you know how you're gonna,
you know that there's
feel.
Something amazing.
Yeah.
And that's why you're doing
that
it.
Is, that is
and
it.
you're doing it not just because, oh goodness, did I mess up my microphone?
No, it's still connected.
Okay, good.
Just sit it right there. Yeah, I'm like, don't sing it to the too far, but yeah.
So you know.
Was it still connected?
I don't know. It's over here.
Do you see it cord? Oh no, you're good. You're great.
Great. So at the end of all of that, you know that what you're doing has a greater outcome or good.
Jesus, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that speaks to fear
That's
and
the
optimism.
part. That's the part.
And it's quite a juxtaposition that scares us because we, saying that you're fearless. I don't think people have the counterweight or the balance. And the other part is optimism.
Yeah. So tell us a really quick story about on your flight journey being a pilot. What was something that scared you at first that's now you're like, oh, easy breezy, beautiful cover girl?
Well, sometimes the things that scare you are the lessons, right?
Right.
So I was all ready for my solo. And the solo happens when your instructor thinks that you can, not perfectly and not even well, but that you can bring the airplane back to a stop. On the ground.
Right.
And so my instructor said to me, all right, you're ready. I said, ready for what? You ready for lunch? Are we ready for lunch? Are we going to go to lunch? And he's like, no, you're ready for your solo. I was like, oh, no. And I hate to do this. Two gentlemen just walked into the room. Hello, sirs. How are you? I fought, and it's going to sound really sexy. I guess I shouldn't say this on live stream.
Listen.
In trouble.
Right.
And it's funny because, it's funny how things get picked up somewhere and then somebody says, Carole said, I was a flight instructor for 14 years. And I'll go back to that. So I flight instructed when my kids were little. And people would say at the PTA, man, what'd you do today? I said, I just buzzed around, just. Anyway, for men, I had to tell them, no, not yet. You are not ready to solo. You won't land the airplane safely. You cannot. That's a no. I'm not signing up. Right. For women, I had to push them out the nest. And I was the same. It is our socialization.
Yeah.
Right? One day that will change. But for today, I had to be pushed out. My flight instructor took us over to this taxi line and he got out. And when he got out, he said, okay, now there are 3 things that are going to happen. I'm going to shut the door and you're going to hear it louder than you've ever heard it. Oof. When you take off, because the airplane that you first start to fly is real tiny. It weighs less than that SUV over there.
Oh, that's my car.
It weighs less than your car.
Fun fact for everyone.
It weighs less than your car.
Wow.
So when you take off, you'll feel the absence of my body weight.
Oh.
He said, and the third
that's
thing
scary.
is, you're gonna feel like you have to urinate immediately. Don't do it here on the seat. Just wait.
Yeah.
And all of those things were true. And one of the things where you have to get up on top of the strut and look inside where the oil is, and you have to look at the gas. And you're doing everything yourself in these little teeny airplanes, and you still do a walk around even in the jets. There's a slot. It's it's about the size of. It's a little smaller than this.
Okay.
And it has a little alligator clip, and you push it down because inside is the oil that you check and everything. Well, I must not have pushed the little piece. It's a little clasp that almost like a bracelet, right? When I took off, got a nice little gust of wind, and it popped open, and it hit the other side of the metal. I thought immediately I was going to wet myself. Right?
Yeah.
But it was nothing but a noise. It just flattened. It was like metal against metal. So
okay, so it's more like that. I would still be unsettled. No.
I landed. I put it back. I turned off the airplane, put it back, and then went off and did it again. And so from now on, I always make sure that things are
Right,
snapped.
right.
Around my house, everything is tight.
Right.
But there are things that you do. I like to say, I like to make new mistakes.
Right.
Not the same ones.
Right. Exactly. Because we're always going to be learning from our
no
mistakes. I mean,
perfect
there's no perfect. There's always something you can learn to be better. And again, your story continues to resonate with the book because even after Bessie graduated from aviatrix school in France, she ended up going back to Europe again to learn more techniques to be able to do different flight shows.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
So Robert Abbott, this guy who does the newspaper, he
Yep.
says to her, there's going to be no chance for you here in the United States.
Yeah.
No one's going to train you.
He called around. He did try.
He did try. He tried on the East Coast and the West Coast.
Mhm.
He said those are the most liberal places. She had made Chicago her home from Waxahachie, Texas.
Mhm.
Okay. So he says, sorry, there won't be any. She says, well, then I guess I have to start going to night school to learn how to speak French.
Mhm.
It takes her 3 years to learn how to speak French. She goes over to France. And just as she gets ready to go to the flight school, 2 women die at the flight school.
Mhm.
So the guy is like, I'm sorry. In
Yeah.
France, we cannot have women falling out of the sky.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is a no.
Yeah.
She's like, a no?
Yeah.
I learned how. So she goes to the north of France to a flight school, which would be our equivalent of like a Harvard. And she says, it might be a wild guess, but a wild chance, a long shot. But I would like to study at your school. And she begins to study there. One of the things I didn't put in the book because it was like too much was that in the north of France, almost like in where Spain and France are, there's a dialect spoken. In France, it's Picardie. In Spain, it's Catalan.
Oh.
And so
okay.
at the places where the borders melt, there's language melts.
Gotcha.
And she was like, what? Wait a minute. I just learned French.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Wow.
she goes to school. She finishes, comes back to the U.S. No one's going to teach her.
No.
And so what does she have to do? She has to, once again,
go back
to learn how to be an aerobatic pilot.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that she could do in the United States.
Exactly. That coming on my parallels here. So I found another.
Do you have to go, my love?
We love you, Jess. Appreciate
It was a
you.
pleasure meeting you.
Love you, girl.
Thanks for the great pictures.
Oh,
Absolutely.
wonderful. Thank you.
I'll make sure I sign
Yeah,
a book for you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I got you. Oh yeah, we good. We good. Have a good one, girl.
Bye-bye. Thank you. It's nice meeting you.
One thing that you wrote about later in the book, but I think that resonates a lot, and I'm going to read this one out loud. Let's see. The sad fact was that I was fighting on 2 fronts. I was a Negro in a profession where our numbers could be counted on one hand, and I was a woman trying to make my mark in outlets controlled, owned, and managed by men. The fact that the latter fight involved men of my own race wounded me profoundly. So I know we're living in a very divisive time, and I was reading another book earlier today. I believe it's called Jesus Over Religion. I'll have to look that up. But it's like we're in a mentality where it's us versus them.
But that's not new.
No, it's not new. It's not new.
Unfortunately.
Right. And I think sometimes when we think of them, we're thinking of race. But as Black women, especially where we have more intersections, we're fighting on a few different fronts. And yeah, I can resonate with this a lot from being one of the few Black people at my job, or one of a few women in a male-dominated space. And it doesn't feel good either way, but it definitely hurts when it's people who identify, you could be at your cookout, you know what I'm saying? So
I'll give context it real quick. So this is as she's going around the country and doing her barnstorming. So barnstorming comes from, they used to put the airplane in the barn because it was made out of cloth and sticks. So when it would rain or at night, they would put it in the barn with the cow, right? But it would keep it safe. So as she was going around the country and doing this barnstorming, she would be in New York City and in Memphis and in LA and places in between. And she's traveling around the United States. when most Americans did not
Aren't able
own
to do
a
that.
motor car.
Right.
Ford, the first Ford comes off the assembly line in 1908.
Mhm.
Bessie's flying in 1921.
Mhm.
So as she's going and doing this, people are approaching her to be her managers.
Right.
So there's a certain class of men who were doing that, and they were shucksters, hooks. They were people who were making these shows around the country.
Yeah.
They used to call
Yeah.
them on the Chitlin circuit
Yeah.
down in the Carolinas, or
Mhm.
if you were in Texas, something else. And so they would be taking advantage of her. They would try.
Yeah.
And she would do things like, which was so bold, you know, and this is not fiction, this is fact.
Mhm.
She would say, you know what? You advertised the show, right?
Mhm.
I'm not doing it. This is how much you're going to pay me. And there's a line that's not too far from there where the guy says, well, you know, my word and my check is good all over the
Oh,
state.
yeah.
She says, so is cash.
Right.
And she gets up and walks out.
Yep. And then he
Right.
stops her and gives her a bunch of ones and fives and change.
So
and
that
different-
little piece is
Yeah.
fiction, but her walking out, or her saying Black people are going to enter the same gate
right.
as white.
You're right.
We know you got to sit differently because you might actually breathe different air.
Right.
But I'm not going to have Black people enter where there's scat.
Right.
I will not do
Right.
it.
Right.
And so she refuses to do the show.
Mhm.
She's like, you know what?
You write her very determined. Like, she's very spicy when she wants to be. Very spicy when she wants to
And
be.
chameleon when she has to be.
Exactly. And so getting back to, you know, fighting two different fights, so to speak. We saw each other earlier in Newark, and you gave a wonderful pitch, but you talked about that there are such a shortage of women, and Black women, women of color, who are pilots.
Would you tell them about where we were this morning?
Oh, we were at the Newark Board of Education at a convene. So it was a bunch of high school seniors that were there and high school students, but then also different educators, representatives from different schools in Newark, resources that different students could participate in, highlights from the year. And so Carole was amazing enough to speak in full pilot's gear. This is completely different.
Yeah, I didn't wear my fringe to
Right.
the convene.
Right, exactly. And so you spoke about, was it 7% or less than 7% total?
Of the United States are women who fly for airlines. And the statistic that I didn't give was that in India, women are 16%.
Wow.
In the U.S., 150,000 people fly for a living.
Mm-hmm.
2.5% roughly are African American,
Mhm.
Asian, Latinx.
Mm-hmm.
7% are women.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I mean, once a year I get a woman.
Wow.
Once a year. And that's crazy,
Right.
right? Like, right? We don't have to. Bye. It was so nice to meet you. Okay,
I know
well, we'll
that's
do a
right.
good signing.
Yeah,
for
I
you.
got you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to
Of
meet
course.
you.
Have a good one, girl.
Ciao. So, you know, it's a place where Bessie's Day there were so few.
Yeah.
And then today. So one kind of historical, this is fact. Bessie Coleman got her license on June 15th, 1921.
Yeah.
So Amelia Earhart is almost 2 years later.
Yep.
2 years
Mhm.
later. 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
20 months. The Tuskegee Airmen are 20 years later. And they consider her their archetypal mother.
I
Hidden
know that's
Figures
right.
are 50 years later.
Oof.
So it really does begin to give you the context
Mm-hmm.
of where she fits into history.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about a pioneer, oof,
Literally. Literally.
right? I mean, that's going first.
Absolutely.
And pioneers, in my point of view, have vision.
Mhm.
So it's very hard to work because your head is down,
Yeah.
your hands are busy,
Yeah.
and then to lift your head up and see what other people don't see.
Right.
If I had to define vision, I would say that is what a visionary does.
Mhm.
They look up and they see over. They see
Jesus.
over.
Yeah.
And sometimes a very good friend of mine says, once you get to the top of a mountain, what do you see? You see other mountains.
Yeah.
And there's a rare person who can look up top and can look over and see past the mountain range. And that's what she did. She wanted other people
Yes.
to have
that
the
same experience.
opportunity.
Yep.
And so the very first part of her career is about getting it for herself. And the second part is how do I give it to others?
Yeah. And let's go into how you're doing it for others. And I want to tie this into like Bessie Coleman's legacy, right? So what does legacy mean to you now that you've studied Bessie's journey and you're actually living within her legacy, and then you want to create another, more legacy or extended legacy for 100 Black women and Black girls. So tell us about, like I said, the parallel with Bessie's legacy, and then how you're carrying that torch forward with Jet Black Foundation.
Alan Houston comes to this convene that we talked about, but since the Knicks are winning, he didn't have time.
Right.
But he did send some of his staff. He says legacy is a verb. It's a verb. Jet Black Foundation. So I founded this same time that we did the book. I love hair color. I have been blue. I have been green. I have let my grays come through. I didn't do that right away. I mean, I put something in them today. But I dyed my hair. Thank you. I dyed my hair black when after blonde it almost came out.
Oh,
so
okay.
I was eating, and my sister's an excellent cook. She's written 7 books. 6 of them have been New York Times bestsellers.
Oh wow! So we have a
I'm a hack.
legacy.
She's
Another legacy.
So my sister said to me, I was eating the soup she made. She said, "Girl, your hair show is black." I said, "I don't like the way you said that." She said, "What I mean is, that's it. That's the name, Jet Black." The Jet Black Foundation. I ain't dyed my hair no other color since then.
I know that.
I also toned it down a little bit for United. But
Fair.
Anyway. And so that became the mantra for how do you build. Our goal is 100 Black women by the year 2035. Ergo, my involvement with the Newark Board of Education.
Yeah.
They actually came to me. I did book signings for very intimate like this. The one I did in Savannah, Georgia was 250 people. And one of the women in the audience said to me, "It's going to take me a year, but I want to get back to you." And she did in 1 year, almost to the day. And what she did was she connected me to the Newark Board of Education.
Wow.
And those folks in Newark, child, they are doing something.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They had NVIDIA there. They had Apple there. They had me there. They had chefs. They had people who are engineers. They had architects. They had entrepreneurs. You name it, they had it.
Yeah.
And their goal is to bring that to Newark. And I always say what I'm doing is not really that altruistic. I have stock in United. I sit in the back of the plane. My family is on United. You all are on United. I want the best.
Yeah.
And one thing, that card that you have, Imposter Syndrome, I want to say something about that.
Please.
The airplane, you know that fake it till you make it? That's not my favorite saying.
That's fair.
It's not my favorite saying. And I feel like that because you can't fake it in the airplane. The airplane knows you have no idea what you're doing with me. So I'm going to go ahead and that's when the airplane's flying you.
Right.
And so at 600, at 500 miles an hour, you have to, you gotta know where it's gonna be because it's gonna be there in 6 miles, 5 miles in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the imposter part works to get yourself through the door, maybe, but to stay there.
Yeah. You gotta have it.
You must understand that craft and that skill.
Absolutely.
And I want excellent. I want to send 100 Black women to flight school who are going to be excellent. And the reason why I want that is because it's a talent pool. Look, y'all got nerves to steal. What's wrong, y'all? Y'all okay?
No.
What's going on here?
We hanging on your words, man.
So we want the best.
Yeah.
And we want a talent pool that has never been tapped.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you could just take all the cream right off the top.
Yeah.
There are some Black women who are doing things. why aren't we thinking about what words are there that don't apply and to us?
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm confused.
Right.
We should be looking at Black women everywhere.
Yeah.
Brothers too.
Yeah, we see y'all. Yeah. So how does talk to me really quickly, because that's a beautiful way of making your legacy, or not your legacy, but the legacy of Black aviators, Black women aviators, come to fruition. How did
It's my ode to her. That's what she wanted.
I was just about to say, exactly, because
She wanted a school.
She wanted a school. She wasn't able to have this. I mean, it's expensive. I mean, because you got to get the plane. She was like, where am I going to get planes from to have a space where you can, rent? You got to pay your rent.
Today.
Exactly.
It's $150,000 over college to go to flight school.
Oof.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. But I love what you're doing with the Jet Black Foundation, because you're going to make it accessible.
Money and access.
Exactly. And I love how you have continued to use your platform, use your access to make this happen.
Give it
and so this is documented, and she spoke it into existence, and it is so. So I do want to give a quick shout out to my sister too, because when you talked about your sister helping you with the Jet Black Foundation a few years ago, I think I had business cards. I didn't name my business yet, but I just put on the back of my business card, I am a creator of Limitless Visions. So I was showing my sister all happy. I'm like, look at my little cards. She's like, oh, is that the name of your company, Limitless Visions? And I was just like, oh. So shout out to the family and friends who, while we could be so in our heads about what we're, our dream and our passion, they're right there giving us those simple hints and answers. So
that's a good sister.
Hello. Shout out to the good sisters out there. Sisters and sisters, okay? So I do want to end it up with this, because this quote here, and it's right at the end of the book.
that you went through this.
Oh yeah, I marked all my pages. Look, I'm like, as I read, I said, what's speaking to me? So I wanna end it with this before we ask you to share your information.
And by the way, 20% of every book sale goes to the Jet Black Foundation. All my speaker fees go to the Jet Black Foundation. I've been able to save almost just shy of $100,000 in 2 or 3 years.
Beautiful. Clap it up. So this hit me real good. So it's Bessie looking back over her life, essentially. She says, I can look back on some of my darkest days and see now that it is those very junctures that the most talented teachers emerged in my life. Without struggle, I may not have been able to absorb the lessons that they had to teach me. It was that fight, those constant jabs, that made my spirit porous enough to let learning and humility seep inside. I've pursued my passion for flying, and I have worked hard, never believing that I was a victim of circumstance. I have worked even harder to have a cheery disposition throughout my journey. And I have learned that one must never, ever, ever give up, and that never taking no for an answer meant that I had to keep going no matter what obstacles were put in my path. So I want you guys to all make sure you get your copy of A Pair of Wings. We are selling them at Cindelles Bookstore. They will be here to be sold. And yeah, allow yourself to be inspired. That was from like one of the few final pages of the book. So you gotta read through the rest to get the culmination of all that. So I want to say thank you, Carole.
Thank you for
and I
thank
want
you for
to
introducing me. It's
absolutely,
gorgeous bookstore.
But I want you, before we do our round of applause, can you please tell people how to keep up with you and how they can support the Jet Black Foundation?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
2 ways, jetblackfoundation.org. Any contribution is big or small. Anyone you know who's interested in supporting Black women going to flight school, jetblackfoundation.org. Please follow me on social media. I'm terrible about asking for that. So please and thank you. And if you get a chance, thank you. Please review the book on Amazon. We depend on you telling other people what the heck. I mean, we'll go on and we'll give a review for a lamp. But, right. But, you know, you invest time in a 400-page book. and sometimes we don't ask,
Mm-hmm.
for people to tell us what you think.
And what is your Instagram, just so people can?
Oh, it's Carole Hopson, I think, _.
Yeah.
I'm not too hard.
No, that's it. That's it. And then and then for Jet Black Foundation,
like a
aside from
test.
buying the book and some of the proceeds is donated, are there ways that people can support Jet Black Foundation directly?
Yes.
Okay.
So there is a donation page on the website, jetblackfoundation.org. Look at that gentleman looking it up right now.
Yeah,
making his
listen, that's why we got
contribution.
beauty of the phones, beauty of the phones.
Can I answer any questions for you guys? Any thoughts?
I have one question.
Oh, hold on here. You gotta take this, girl.
you can sit right there, but I want you to be able to get streams.
By the way, everybody, this is beautiful Cindelle of Cindelle Books.
Thank you. So, a couple things. Number one, apart from me owning a bookstore, I also am a professor in the English department at a local community college. Apart from that, there are writers who come to this store, and they come and they write. And it was funny because I just had a conversation with a woman yesterday about her endeavors of writing a specific book. As it relates to that, Toni Morrison always talks about how one day she woke up and Beloved was sitting right outside of her, because she lived like near a lake situation. And she opened the door and she let Beloved in. And she needed to learn who Beloved was before she wrote her. I need to know what Bessie said to you. I need to know how that happened. I need to know what she spoke to you on. What did she tell you? Make sure you say a little bit of this. Make sure you tell me a little bit of that. I move usually past the whole, did Bessie speak to you? No, what did she say to you? Because I know that she spoke to you.
Well, let me just tell you, girl, she was not sitting outside my door. It took 12 years to write this book. I wish, man, oh man, sometimes now that you tell me that Toni Morrison say that, maybe I have to go back and have another conversation with Bessie. Incredible. So, for example, if I got ready to write a sentence like, she wrote in her logbook, what the logbook look like? I know what my logbook looks like today as a pilot. It's electronic. But when I first started flying, it was not. So I had just an inkling of what it must have been like. But what did old logbooks look like? Yeah. Did she write in a pen? And it gave me an opportunity to look at organizations and companies that were 100 years old. So for example, Mont Blanc is a company that's 100 years old. Now, I'm not saying Bessie had Mont Blanc money, because now, pays the $500.
Right.
But back then, we had a lot less disposable things.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had water like this, there wouldn't be a straw, but things were more permanent.
Yeah.
And there were a lot less things, especially for her in her nomadic life. So, spoiler alert, after she has a terrible accident in 1923, and the femur, the longest, strongest bone in the human body, is broken 100 years ago.
Yeah.
To mend that, then that was an opportunity to use another device to write about her experiences.
Yeah.
Did she do it? No. But that was a device to pull you in. And so I give her a Mont Blanc.
Yeah.
Because that's what she deserved.
Right. I think it's also very remarkable that not only are you a actual pilot that flies planes, but you also have the duality of being an experienced writer. Like, you are a journalist. Like, this is your expertise. And I always find ways where there are Black women who do so many things at once and people don't even realize
That's why
it.
the talent pool is untapped.
Exactly. And I am inspired by you. I want to say thank you. The road sometimes gets very rough, but I am standing around people who do so much and are so talented, and they are willing and able to continue on. So thank you for
ditto to you. Thank you for this gorgeous bookstore. And I'll tell you this one thing again. I didn't open up the door and let her in. Child, it was 12 years of, and I must say this. So in doing some of the research, I spent years combing through Black newspapers to find where she was and what people said about her. And then my agent at the time said, on one of the 17th rewrites, I said, do me a big favor. Do not send me back with another rewrite with like 2 or 3. Just tell me tell me for the last time
Mhm.
something I'm missing.
Yeah.
And she said, it's hidden in plain sight. That's what we're talking about. I said, evidently it must still be hidden.
Right.
This is not opening up the door and people coming in. She said, you were a newspaper reporter. Hang the story on newspaper headlines to give the historical part of historical fiction heft.
Yeah.
And so that became why it's so credible, because I use newspapers.
Yeah.
I love newspapers. My first newspaper I wrote for was a Black newspaper. I had to take the pictures. I had to write the stories. I had to lay it out. I had to write the cut lines. And then I had to run it before deadline to the printer to print it up. And they would print it up like this. I was a Philadelphia Tribune. So I learned a lot about newspapers. This is going to sound silly, but even how to read them, right? So yes, I was a journalist. And in my core, I was always a good writer. But I had to learn how to write for newspapers, right?
Yeah.
You know, it was really important that you told the whole story, you fleshed out the middle, and most people fast would read the beginning and the end.
Right.
Okay, so I had to learn how to do that, and I did it 6-7 stories a day as a police reporter. Bad people did a lot of bad stuff, so I got a lot of practice.
Right.
But writing those news stories was very different than writing a book. So one was a sprint, and the book was a marathon.
Right.
The amount of energy that you had to have, see?
Honestly, I'm done with you.
If I needed to run down that street because, you know, my kid was there, I could hoof it in these boots.
Right.
But if I had to run a marathon, I would go around and see who's a size 7.5 and who has a perfect pair.
We got some 7.5s in the place.
Right. And if my life depended on, my children's life depended on, I said, Mom, I'll be back.
Yeah.
I bring them back with something missing on the bottom because I'd be running. Right. But it's that, and I felt compelled to write this story. So while there was very little that I felt was easy, because while there are some clear parallels,
Yeah, for sure.
my life is so much easier than Bessie Coleman's. Right? So, I mean, I didn't pick cottons. I had to go and find out what it was like to pick cotton. I went down to Texas. The atmosphere in the airplane is very dry. It's drier than the Sahara. We come out the airplane. Our eyes, our hair, that's why it's so puffy. Skin, throat, little teeny weeny sacs in your lungs, dry.
Yeah.
Not doing a very good advertisement, am I, for flying? Anyway, part of what I had to learn was what it was like to pick cotton. I was only going to use 3 sentences, but I went to Texas to see what that was like. Texas was cotton king. Everybody I met who was 100 years old had this thing right in the back, and you bend over.
Right.
And when you looked at their fingers was the quick started down here. It was flayed. It was flayed.
Yeah.
They hadn't picked cotton for 20 years, but their fingers started down here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Woo. Carole, thank you.
Thank you
again for having
you.
having us. That's how I feel. Like I feel like you had us in your story, in your delivery, in your resilience. Thank you for sharing Bessie Coleman's story. I hope more people will pick up this book. She is a true hidden figure, and you can learn so much about her, the time period, and I won't call it that. The challenges that came with being a young Black woman growing up and doing something that no one else who looked like her has done before.
Visionary.
A big visionary. I'm glad she has passed that down to you through osmosis, and I hope that the Jet Black Foundation, not even I hope, I know the Jet Black Foundation is going to send 100 Black women and girls
to today.
flight school. Exactly, to flight school by 2035. So you heard it here first. So I appreciate you. Remember, guys, stay encouraged, have your resilience, write your own story. And remember, Imposter Syndrome. Hold on. I want to thank Cindelle and Cindelle's Bookstore for having us here, hosting us here. being a great staple in our hometown of Plainfield, New Jersey. We could not have done this without you. So appreciate
Gorgeous
you.
space.
Make sure you check out Cindelles if you are in the Plainfield, New Jersey area.
Or online, right?
Oh yeah, online too. But I'm saying, but look at the space. I mean, it's good to be. You'll leave with 5 or 6 books. So remember, Imposter Syndrome ain't got nothing on you.
Thank you, Diandra. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.